What would you like me to cover in our next edition?
Hey, welcome back to the channel. So in this episode, we're going to talk about Helena, your very first healer esper in this game. And a lot of the time, like if you don't know any better, like a lot of early game player, like a new player, they regretted increasing the level of Helena. Like they regretted investing on Helena. But there is an explanation for that. It's not because she is a bad healer, but she is not supposed to be an early game or mid game healer for your progression. So that's why if you have watched my other episode, like Changpu is gonna be your best healer very early in the game and mid game while progressing. But going into the late game, she gonna become less useful, but Helena actually becomes the best in late game. So let's take a look at her skill. The first skill attacks one enemy, damage 120%, attacks 100% chance of dispelling one buff from the enemy. So it has a nice chance, like it is 100% chance of dispelling buff. So when Sentinel Hunt first came out and I didn't have enough 15 Esper to go into killing the Dark Star Lord, I actually used Helena in order to remove the boss's buff, and she is quite reliable in this case, like dispelling the buff. Now going into her second skill, attacks one enemy 2 times, damage per hit, 90% attack. So in total you're gonna deal 180% attack. It is quite high for a healer, and there is a reason for that. Enemy AP minus 15% per hit and final damage plus 10%. So the total AP reduction is gonna be 30% if you hit both times, and it's quite a lot, like 30% AP reduction is quite a lot, but it's only for a single target. So against bosses that can be affected by AP down, this can help a lot, especially when the cooldown is only 3 turns. So you can already guess, the first skill, the second skill is good for boss fight. Now going to the third skill, heals one ally, healing 30% of their maximum HP, heals the remaining allies, healing 15% of their maximum HP. So this one includes the main target that you healed in the first time here. So your first target actually got 45% of their maximum HP healed. Now for every 10% maximum HP the target loses, healing plus 10%, and this is in not adding, but this is multiplied to your base healing. So if you heal for 45%, increase that by another 90% times 45%, meaning that you're gonna increase it by another 40%. That means that you're gonna heal for around 80% something. So that's the amount of heal that she gonna heal to her target if they have 90% maximum HP lose. So when they are dying, like when they only have 10% maximum HP left. So in a sense, like she will always gonna heal her main target back to full health. And for the remaining allies, she healed for 15% and increase that if they are like very low health, like 90% maximum HP losses, then it's gonna heal them for like 30% of their maximum HP, around 30% something. But if you give her equipment of Panacea here, it increases your healing by 30%, so that's the effectiveness of healing. So those 80% multiplied by 1.3, which is increasing that number by 30%, you almost gonna guarantee the first target you heal gonna go back to full health. And then for the remaining of their allies, is gonna go up to nearly 50% of their HP. That's how much healing Helena can do when you give her a Abilimon. And when very early in the game you don't really have that much Abilimon to invest on, so obviously her heal is gonna be quite low. And after that, also because your maximum HP is not that much and the enemy's damage is higher than the amount of maximum HP that you have, so eventually you're gonna feel that very early in the game her heal is not enough. Like even though she is in your team, you're gonna keep on dying every now and then, because she doesn't have an overhealing that Changpu has. Like Changpu, if you give her like some amount of attack, she can already overheal her target. But for Helena, because her heal is fixed amount, like no matter what stats you give to her heal doesn't get affected. So that's why she is very unique in that case, because that means that she can be built any way you want, and that when we go back to her second skill, the reason why her attack damage here is quite high is that because you can build her as a battle healer. She can be, you can give her a damage equipment, a DPS equipment. Like here I can give her a Drew relic here, and she will still heal the same amount, although it doesn't get the benefit of the panacea set, but this amount of heal will always gonna be the same even though you build her at full damage here. So her second skill gonna hit for a lot, and then her first skill also deal quite normal damage, and on top of that her Divinate also, when the bearer's HP is full, downfalls damage plus 15%. Downfall is the second skill. So yeah, the second skill can actually hit quite high, but it's not comparable to an actual DPS because her attack stats is actually quite low, just like the same reasoning as Layla. So her stats is actually high, her basic stats is actually high on the HP department. So that's why she is kind of like, you know, not specialized into anything, but you can build her any way you want. And the cooldown for both her skill is at 3 turns. So when I did my Sentinel Hunt very early in the game, like when Sentinel Hunt first came out and I didn't have like 15 Espers there, Helena actually helped me a lot because of her constant healing, especially if you pair her with a cooldown reduction like Sachiko here. She can reduce the cooldown of her allies. Like that means that Helena will be able to heal every single turn using her third skill, almost every single turn, like once or every 2 turns. So, and also with the amount of healing that she does, she can be pretty much keep your entire lineup alive for a very long time, especially in a long battle. So in other healer, like if you use any other you know, legendary or epic healer, once they heal, usually they have a long cooldown. Like if you don't give them a Bilimon, like this skill here have a 5 turns cooldown, and then, you know, for other epic healer like this one also 5 turns cooldown and 4 turns if you give them a Bilimon. So if you still have a limited amount of Bilimon, then investing on Helena's heal here can give you a constant healing for a long battle. But again, it's kind of like a waste because there are much better choice for a healer compared to her. This is just for an emergency, if in case you don't have any other healer to choose from when you need 15 Espers to bring. And critical rate up also increasing your DPS number of buff. Like this can increase your DPS chance to deal critical damage, eventually leading to a more damage from your DPS. But it also counts for something that requires a number of buffs to be calculated. Like for example, like Dark Star-Lord, he deals less damage to you the more buffs you have. So having a critical rate up coming from Helena is a different thing coming from like other Esper. Like you just have a need to have a different collection of every single type of buff that you bring in your 5 Esper lineup in order to maximize your effectiveness fighting against Dark Star-Lord very early in the game while you are still progressing. And also for battles that take a long time, like probably when you're still progressing through your cube or temporal tower, etc, all those long fights you can count on her constant healing, while she doesn't require any investment on the equipment department. So like she will always heal for a constant number there. So going into her growth, advancement, obviously if you only aim for her healing, then she doesn't require any stats. So you can just stop her at level 50 or you know, even at level 1, she will still heal the exact same amount of healing here. So it doesn't matter her level, but you don't want to waste a Starimon on her, because the only thing that she gets out of level 60 is just a bonus stats that will increase her survivability. And if you don't really need her survivability, like you can just increase the survivability by using her other allies to support her or give you give her an HP or defense equipment, etc. There are a lot of ways to increase her survivability. So don't waste any Starimon on her. But I'm gonna show you how much damage she can deal at level 60 later on. On going on to Resonance, again the stats is just a bonus, it's not needed for Helena. Now the second Resonance when attacked by a critical hit damage minus 10%, so increase her survivability. Quite alright, it's a nice bonus. Now the fourth Resonance when HP is below 40% healing plus 10%. This is your target HP. So if your target is at low health, your healing is going to get increased further. So that's why she can definitely heal for a lot, especially if your allies is at low health. Now her ascension is actually not needed because as you can see here, all of her ascension increase her survivability. So if you do want to save on your ascension material, then this is not needed because the third one also is the one that gives you a critical rate up. So if you don't really need the critical rate up, like you can get this from your Dahlia or any other sources, then you can save up on your ascension material. But if you do want to increase her survivability, like you have everything you need here: health, defense, resist, health, and defense again. So going to her rival rune, as always, every single healer gonna be having Panacea here. Like that's the best healer equipment. Like there is no other equipment for a healer except for Panacea. Like this is just the best. Like there is nothing that can compare to this. Like even like if you watch my Changpu video, like even though Changpu requires attack for her healing, I already explained why she is still much better going with Panacea. So you can watch on my Changpu's videos on that. So that's Helena here. Yeah, so I'm gonna showcase you her damage. You're gonna see in the PR battleground. So level 60 here, I'm gonna increase her to maximum level. And as usual, we're gonna use Brian as our benchmark DPS. So let's go for Drew here. And then let's battle. I'm gonna use Clara just to push their AP so they can use their skills straight away. So because this is wind and this is flow, I'm gonna hit a flow enemy so as to not give a miss straight up to Helena. But it's gonna give advantage to Brian because Brian will deal more damage to a flow. So let's just go with this one. Blam, 41,000 damage, so that's the amount of damage Brian can deal with a 300% attack skill damage. Now going into Helena, obviously this gonna deal much lower damage, but as just a reference, you will know how much damage she can deal if you actually build her as a battle healer. So her ability is deal for 180% attack, which is less than a half that what Brian has. So let's see, does he deal like near 20,000 damage or like probably 18,000? Oh no, there's no crit. Yeah, because he hits twice, I need both hits to deal critical damage. Hey, kablam, kablam. Damn it. Yeah, let's go. Kablam. Look at that, 18,000, just as predicted. So that's the amount of damage Helena can deal, but is definitely not going to replace an actual DPS. But while she is dealing that much damage, like she can also heal her allies on top of that. No. So let's take a look at the number here. Like if I heal my allies here, like let's take a look at Clara. How much heal I can heal to Clara? Kablam, 8,000, 16,000. Because her heal is dependent on her target's maximum HP. Hence why my Clara, who has like a very high health, can get healed by a lot there. So going to using her first skill again. Let's see. Yeah, let's hit this one. Kablam, 12,000. Look at that. And this is coming from a healer. You know, this is coming from a healer. So just like you know, just like Changpu. Like Changpu, if you give her a DPS equipment, like she gonna be able to deal damage while on top of being able to heal.
The flowers
You know,
say spring
like for
will come.
example, like she, if you give her not actually a critical damage relic, like it's gonna be quite a little bit different. Like I'm gonna use Mateo's relic here because she gonna need like a very high attack. And also a very high speed. Oh yeah, also that's the thing. Like Helena also require a high speed. If you do want me to give her like an actual relic, probably I'm gonna give her the same relic as Meredith, because here's the thing. She needs a high speed in order to rotate through these skills, the two of these skills quite fast. And because she is using Panacea, so you definitely cannot use like Windwalker or Ocean Set, and thus you only can use your speed to rotate through this cooldown very, very quickly. Now the survivability, of course, here health and defense. So that's what she needs, and also resist if you don't want her to get to stop, if you don't want your enemy to stop her healing your allies. But there's a pros and cons. Like for Changpu, if you give her like attack equipment here like this, she can deal quite some damage while on top of being able to heal quite a lot. But that means that if you require her to increase her survivability, her heal will get compromised. While for Helena, even if you give her a like defensive relic here, her heal will never ever get compromised because this is a constant number, and that's the best thing about Helena.
Hey, watch it.
So
This dress was
that's it for
very
Helena.
expensive.
Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.